I do what I do. He knows what I'm about to tell him right now. It's Mr. Keep Running Your Mouth. That's what I
do. I just feel like I'm the champ, and at the end of the day, I'm just a fighting motherfucker. It doesn't matter. Inside, outside, I can just fight. So I just feel like if it gets down to the wire, we gotta lock it up, I'm out on top.
As you can see how I'm looking, I stay solid. I'm always solid. I stay fucked up, right? You know what I'm saying? To the fans that know.
I do that job outside the ring. I'm a fighter, like I said before. Ain't no safety on the clock, so I'm ready.
Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. I'm still letting the dust settle. I want to say Happy New Year's and thanks for the growth. All subscribers matter. It's time to feed the clones. It's time to set some things straight. Just want to have some casual talk. You know, out here in these boxing streets to start off the New Year's. And here we go. Even though PBC is taking a lot of fire from the YouTube boxing community right now, certain group of individuals. However, they're presenting us free fights today. If you go to Fox, the main fight that I'm checking for is Romero Duno against the Man Down Promotions, aka Errol Spence, and his fighter Frank Martin. They fight this evening on Fox. That's the fight that I'm checking for. Pretty soon we'll have Jermell Charlo and Castano for the rematch so we can get undisputed at 154. We have Ugas versus the Street Sweeper and Errol Spence coming up, also under the direction of PBC. And 3/4 of the puzzle will be solved with Errol Spence or Yordenis Ugas having 3 belts, leaving only Terrence Bud Crawford as the missing link so we can get an undisputed at 147. And, you know, let's stop right there for a second. Let's just parking lot right here and let's just go over some things, right? Because there was a lot of energy here recently when everybody didn't know what was going to happen with Errol Spence. I came out with a video I did on my birthday on 12/20/2021 in which I stated that there was an agreement reached and they are now going to fight for a unification, with Errol Spence having the IBF and the WBC, and Yordenis Ugas having defended his belt against the legend Manny Pacquiao, in which he was able to beat Walter and seize the moment to retain his WBA strap. It's strap season, man down, and now that fight is underway. Beforehand, Mr. Errol Spence was taking on a lot of heat, saying that Boots was going to be his mandatory, and it was either fight Bud or fight Boots, but now he has Ugas. We put that to bed, and when I look at the road to undisputed, the road to undisputed does not annotate that there is a person. It annotates that there is a belt, meaning if I have the IBF and the WBC and I'm scheduled to fight for the WBA, the only thing left is the WBO, regardless of who holds it and who's willing to let that O go. We heard the young Sasquatch Foot, Jerron Boots Ennis, say that he was willing to let that O go. Well, that fight between him and Errol Spence can't be made. Therefore, the next fighter in line, since we want to dismiss Danny Garcia because Erickson Lubin said that he would welcome Danny Garcia up to 154. Danny Garcia and jaw jacking saying he'll take the winner of Amir Khan and Kell Brook, who already knocked out Amir Khan, so he's saying maybe we can do it again. So he would be talking to Khan, I guess inferring that Khan would win that fight. I don't know, because the last version we seen of Kell Brook was a version that looked in shape but looked like he was severely weight drained against Bud, and Bud dispatched him with a combination of a hook jab, whatever you want to call that kind of punch. We don't know what it is. He got the job done. Crawford ended the night early. So now we can rule out Danny Garcia because y'all saying, oh no, that wouldn't be a viable option. We have ties with him going to Bob. With him even thinking or considering that he would actually go back to Bob would be a total contradiction in everything that Bud and Bob been saying, but mainly on Bud. If he said that Bob couldn't get the fights, the big fight with Spence when he was with him, how can he get it without me? And then he turns right around and he does a deal when he's a free agent. What would hold him up being able to fight Josh Taylor, other than him having to do business with Bob? And Bob coming out talking about all this one fight deal, all this blah blah blah, you know, that's the new thing, and he's out of contract. That doesn't mean it's over. But if he goes back with Bob, I want Bud OnlyFans, the ones with the tonsil jewelry and the knee pads, with the Kevlar and the extra cushion, the throat coat, the bib. I'm coming out with a new bib for the OnlyFans, man. Hey, it will actually secure anything that you happen to, you know, if you want to keep your garments fresh, it'll actually protect you. You know what I'm saying? When you want to go deep for your favorite fighter, it'll protect your garments. When you got your tonsil jewelry in and you got your knee pads on and you really want to go that extra mile for your favorite fighter, this bib that I'm coming out with here soon is the answer for all your needs. But if Bud re-signs with Bob and chooses to fight Josh Taylor, who already has a fight as well, so he need to see the results of that fight before he even make a decision, which is silly. If he does that, it'll be an admission that although he does his thing inside the ring, outside the ring, it is utter chaos. The business decisions, all of the asterisks beside all of the fights. Now, I don't really see how you can actually make a knock at Danny Garcia when Danny Garcia was trying to negotiate, and coming from the Bud camp, Bob Arum and Bud, they said that Danny Garcia outpriced himself. They said that Keith Thurman outpriced himself. They went on to fight Khan, who had already been knocked out by Danny Garcia and Canelo Alvarez. They go on and fight Egis Velasquez, who fought to a draw with Ray Robinson. And instead of fighting Ray Robinson, who beat Bud in the amateurs, they chose to fight Mean Machine. Then they say, oh, well, Bud actually stopped Sean Porter faster than Errol Spence. Well, the young phenom Virgil Ortiz actually stopped Egis Velasquez faster and arguably more efficient than Terrence Bud Crawford did. Virgil Ortiz is on camera when he was at the fight, when Virgil Ortiz actually stopped Maurice Hooker, calling out Terrence Bud Crawford. Terrence Bud Crawford said, "You don't want none." So mark him off. Keith Thurman's been inactive. He lost to Manny Pacquiao. He took the belt for granted. That's how we got a Ugas and Pacquiao anyway. He was calling him alligator arms before the fight. He neglected the skill and he underestimated a true legend in Manny Pacquiao. Now he has to fight Mario Barrios, who was Tank Davis's leftovers, moving up from 140 to 147 in the hopes that this fight is going to catapult them into a fight with Bud. Bud has been on record, his fans at least been on record saying that they'll wait around for Thurman. Meanwhile, Boots is just chilling. Just the other day, oh, he's Earl's mandatory. He's his mandatory. He gotta face him. Now he free. Now they saying, oh, Bud need rest and we can't get a Boots fight. Let this man sign back with Top Rank. I'm gonna go back to a previously on Bodywork Boxing, and I am going to show you how there was never an intent for Bud to actually fight in a big major fight, because we also see that the Sean Porter fight was actually forced because it had to go through purse bid. If you're willing and able, because Bob didn't want to fight, Terrence was saying Sean didn't want to do this, stand back and stand by. We was getting ready to get a Jose Zepeda. They've been waiting on Josh Taylor all this time. Josh Taylor would be coming off an injury to fight Jack Catterall. And after that, he's been saying that he wants to actually go up and fight Bud. That's been the play all along. But also, aside from that, the Bud and Bomac connection, they actually have a young crop of fighters who they actually train, who they're in business. And I've been saying this whole time, it would be a conflict of interest. It'd be a conflict of interest for Bud really to go anywhere else, because Bomac and what he has to offer and their partners in that training business that they actually have. So if you look at comparison, if you look at Man Down Promotions, business-wise and inside the ring, and you look at Terrence Bud Crawford, business-wise and inside the ring, it's clear that Bud isn't eligible to fight anybody that's of any threat. It's to justify that he has his shot at undisputed with Earl, because Earl is on a mission to sweep up his side of the street and get rid of everything over there before he comes after Bud, which he stated on record, and he has stayed true to form. No tune-ups, came back and fought Danny Garcia, had the eye injury with Manny Pacquiao. He's coming right back into a fight with Ugas, who we are not overlooking. When we look at the road to undisputed, which Earl has emphasized that it's the road to undisputed, not necessarily the road to Bud, even though we are hoping that it's the road to Bud. But whoever has that belt, whoever has that WBO belt, is who Earl Spence is actually coming after next. So you can play musical chairs, you can dance around, you can make up all these excuses, you can try to, move the goalposts all you want. Right now, we should actually be getting a Bud in boots. If Bud is the baddest man on the planet, that's the fight we should be getting. You can make all kinds of excuses. Just keep making up all kinds of excuses. We don't really care. We're not going to focus on it. Whoever holds that belt, that's who Earl's coming from. And I just wanted to emphasize that, because when you look at the two videos that he has about the road to undisputed, speaking of Earl Spence, you don't hear Earl Spence talking. You don't hear Earl Spence going to the drive-thrus at your local seafood restaurant asking for big fish. You don't see him going down to the aquarium down in Atlanta asking for the big fish. You don't see him out in the ocean calling for the big fish. You actually see him landing a deal, sitting down at the business table and making a business deal come to fruition to unify once again. So if you want to reduce everything down in this whole Bud and Earl Spence saga that's going on, we can reduce it and say Earl Spence went and got the IBF off of Kell Brook. He went and got the WBC off of Sean Porter. And if everything goes according to Earl Spence's plan, he will have gotten the WBA off of Yordenis Ugas. Meanwhile, his first fight up, Terrence Bud Crawford has went up and got the WBO from Jeff Horn. Actions versus words. And I would say the reason why we don't really hear from Earl is because he wants you to see his actions. I think that he is a very calculated individual. He's a vicious body puncher. And he is speaking through his actions, which means getting back to work, organizing, and bringing a fight to fruition that would actually solve another piece to the puzzle. Meanwhile, we have a whole lot of back and forth, a whole lot of question marks, many question marks about what Terrence Crawford's immediate future is. There's links to him and Bob, and we get a whole bunch of fans talking about how everybody's ducking him. Man, shut that bullshit up. Wipe your chin, man. Have some decency. Some of us have children. We don't want to see and hear about it. Moving right along. More things to come. What I would like to see is, I would actually like to see a Jamal Charlo against a Caleb Plant. It makes sense to me. What a lot of people refuse to do when they bring up Jamal Charlo is refuse to admit that this man actually suffered a broken hand in his fight against Juan Montiel, in which he put his hands up side by side, and one of his hands was like 4 times as wide as the other hand. That takes about 6 months. That fight happened in June. It's January. We should be getting an announcement soon. We know Triple G was trying to go for Murata. We know that Andre is getting ready to run from an ass whooping from a guy named Janabek, a vicious body puncher, a southpaw that's going to probably work Andre like a part-time job. So now the narrative is that he's moving up to 68 in endeavors to fight Canelo, in which Canelo is going up to cruiserweight to fight a guy named Mukabo who nobody even knows. And Alexander Usyk actually was on film saying that he would actually come back down to cruiserweight, where he is undisputed at cruiserweight, and fight Canelo Alvarez. But Canelo Alvarez said, no smoke, no smoke. He don't want no barbecue smoke. He don't want no chimney smoke. He don't want no ashtray smoke. He don't want no exhaust smoke. I think he wants a half smoke. That's what we got going on with the face of boxing. We got many of the YouTube content creators attacking the Al Heyman PBC money team. They're attacking Tank. They're talking about people. I mean, we had an all-time low when content is actually talking about people and their fake teeth and how, oh man, they only got fake teeth, and you talking about people's gambling habits and everything about boxing. Meanwhile, we got Frank Martin coming up this evening. I've heard like one channel just mention their name, but I don't see any videos about Frank Martin. They all say that they're Errol Spence supporters, but they don't mention anything about Frank Martin and his endeavor as he's being groomed for greatness. Got a video about it. I did it earlier this week. Check it out. What else do we have? I'm not sure what Regis Prograis is going to do. I was thinking about a Gary Antonio Russell against a Rashid Warren. Why can't we get that match? I'm thinking about a Gary Antoine Russell who actually dispatched of Santiago, made him quit on the stool in an effort to get an Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner is running over to the zone. I'm not sure if he squandered or messed up his opportunity with PBC, but he's going over to the zone. He's trying to talk to Eddie. He's trying to actually make a fight. The young man, Conor Benn, is on record saying he wants the fighter of Kell Brook and Amir Khan, or he wants an Adrian Broner. And I think that everybody in the YouTube community is actually pushing for Adrian Broner to go over there and mess with Eddie. And I'm like, let's look at Eddie's background. Got too many videos about it. One called The Tale of Two Eddies. Check it out. One talking about his mismanagement of Devin Haney. Go check it out. One is also even hinting on his dealings with Dillian White. You can go check on that. I would not recommend Adrian Broner go over there and mess with Eddie. It might be a payday, but Conor Benn would actually retire him. What I would like is for Adrian Broner to do the stand-up thing, do what he need to do with PBC, and fight Gary Antoine Russell. Two brothers can actually get a paycheck. Gary Antoine can show that he ain't anything to be playing around with. That man look like he quit school because of recess. Anything at 140 is being on lock, even though we are actually hearing about the Brandon Lees of the world in that regard. I just need to see a little bit more from Brandon Lee resume wise, and as they continue to build him, maybe that might be a good fight. But right now I don't really see anybody fucking with Gary Antoine Russell at 140. So I would like to see Gary Antoine Russell fight Adrian Broner. I would like to see Tank Davis go ahead and fight Lomachenko. If he go ahead and fight Lomachenko, that will actually be a pay-per-view event. It will satisfy both Tank and Floyd in a co-promotional deal in which they both can divide the pie however they see fit. I think Tank would be the A side in that because he holds all the cards. In this recent victory of Vasyl Lomachenko against Richard Comey didn't really tell us anything. He wasn't able to stop him. He did beat him very effectively, but Richard Comey got knocked out by T.O. We don't know the status of T.O. T.O. is talking about going up to 140, but the aforementioned Gary Antoine Russell will actually end T.O.'s career if he did that. We don't know what T.O., even though I am a T.O. fan, at the end of the day, we don't know what move he's going to make, but it's going up to 140. I don't know. I will buckle down, get focused, put my name back in the hat, and try to see if you can get back in the running for the 135. You suffered a loss. get back in the saddle, stay focused, keep the train on the tracks, and maybe you can peek your head out at another chance the same way Lubin is on right now. A lot of people saying that Lubin is scheduled to fight Fundora, and they're actually questioning whether or not Lubin is being set up, just like synonymous with the whole PBC thing, just like they're questioning Mr. Gary Antonio Russell being set up against Mark Magsayo. I'm like, what do you all want? Do you want competitive fights? Do you want to see, you know what I'm saying? Do y'all even want to see the brothers exceed? Do y'all want to see them fight, or y'all just want to talk about their personal lives? I don't get it. As a hardcore, I'm focused on the fights. I'm focused on seeing what's good with them inside the ring. I will actually support them, and if it's anything that's going on outside the ring that I deem worthy, I'll talk about it. I'm trying to uplift the brothers. I'm trying to keep their names out there. I'm trying to keep them getting paydays. I'm trying to accentuate the positive, dare I say, in this YouTube era that we're living in. With all the race baiting, with all the backbiting, with all the crab in the barrel things that's going on, there's still a lot of good things going on with PBC. So I talked about Charlo, both Charlos. I talked about Andrade. I talked about Gary Russell, all of the Gary Russells. I talked about Tank. I talked about T.O. I talked about Frank Martin. I talked about Earl Spence. I talked about Bud. Hopefully we can get a Bud versus a Boots. I'm not buying into all this excuse shit while y'all making another excuse for Bud to just sit back and relax while Earl does all the heavy lifting. Moving goalposts. Changing conversations. I don't know, man. Boxing is boxing is fragile right now. There's a lot of weirdo behaviors going on right now in boxing, and really can't wrap my mind around it. All I can do is be consistent. Every subscriber matters, right? I'm getting ready to start doing a lot of previously on Bodywork Boxing, because I see a lot of people coming out with topics and discussing topics that I've discussed previously in my episodes. You know, I don't really get a shout out. I don't really get anything, but I'm starting to see it happen too often, so I got something for that. But your boy will be speaking that hot fire. And it's the truth. It's not popular when it's happening, but 2 weeks, 3 months, 5 days, 7 weeks from now, these same things come to fruition, and they don't holler at your boy. But I appreciate those who want to listen. I appreciate those who stay tuned in, hear what I'm saying, and be like, Eureka! He's on to something. Just like I seen Boxing Ego come out, and he confirmed what I said about Canelo and Eddie Reynoso, saying that there's no way that Canelo Alvarez will fight Alexander Usyk at cruiserweight, even though he's moving up to cruiserweight, daring to be great. And Alexander Usyk said he would meet him at he would share the weight, meet him down to cruiserweight. And they're trying to save a fight, and they're trying to build a fight for Alexander Usyk to fight their guy, Andy Ruiz. He confirmed it. Canelo don't want no smoke. I told y'all, I know a motherfucking gingerbread man when I see one. That's about this. After the Caleb Plant loss, I was going to come out with a video about Canelo and the gingerbread path that the gingerbread man has been out there in Candyland. No notable people. Ducking Charlo down at 160. Ducking David Benavidez at 168. Ducking Demetrius Andrade. Willing to entertain a Triple G fight. I think that's just like he's like a side chick. I think Triple G is Canelo's side chick, so he can hit that whenever he wants. I ain't gonna charge y'all for that. But this man is just maneuvering. Everybody says, "Oh, that ginger flavored Kool-Aid must be very good." I'm not drinking none of that shit. You might get pregnant. Mess around, have all these little ginger babies running around. I'm not drinking none of that shit. He gets no shine over here. You know, meanwhile, Floyd Mayweather, who beat this man senseless for 12 full rounds. You know, and that's the best part of watching DAZN. I meant to do a video about it. You know what the best part of DAZN is? Clicking on DAZN, going to the Floyd Money Mayweather fight against Canelo Alvarez and watch him beat the fuck out of Canelo for 12 straight rounds. And then the entertainment factor is that somebody actually had it a draw. The state of the world, man, the state of boxing, man. Those are just some things to come. I'm trying to see what else did I forget. What am I leaving out in these boxing streets? I don't know. Let's see. Devin Haney, Kambosos, they need to dance. Hopefully Kambosos gets out of this prima donna / bad broad behavior / diva behavior. He's a diva acting like a wide receiver right now. And I hope he gets out of that. Maybe it's too late. Maybe he's in that tangle web with Bob. He's messing with Eddie. You know, Eddie, according to this one YouTuber, she said Eddie can box up a pile of shit and give it to you. And you be like, thanks, Eddie. I mean, that's how good Eddie is, man. They got people believing that nobody will fight Devin Haney, even though a lot of my videos say that, man, they've been running down with Vaseline up ready to, you know what I'm saying, buckle that man. But you know, I hope Kambosos actually give him a shot, you know, so we can get a clear cut undisputed at 135. I don't think the train stops once Devin Haney and Kambosos fight, because I think Tank need to fight Loman, the winner need to fight the winner of the Kambosos Haney fight to answer all the questions at 135. We cannot bring up Shakur right now because Shakur has not officially entered the 135 division, although it would be good to go ahead and see, since Bob wants to play with them belts and Shakur can't get an Oscar Valdez fight right now, and they want him to fight Navarrete, which is cool by me, but at the same time, we might as well go ahead and get a Chris Colbert popping. We might as well get a Shakur Colbert popping. You know what I'm saying? There's history there. They talk stuff. The fight would be built. I do think that Shakur will probably edge it out, but it would be a very fan-friendly build-up and a fan-friendly fight. I think them two need to go ahead and get it on. I would love to see that. I think that it wouldn't have any problem doing any kind of numbers. It'll be a respectable fight that, you know, some people will call for. So that's that on Shakur. I think that Shakur is the future. I think Tank Davis is right now. We had Richardson Hitchens, who's also a guy. I think his victory over Malik Hawkins, I think that wasn't highlighted as much as it needs to be, especially with all the heat that TMT is taking, but I think that he's groomed for success. We don't know what's going on with Rolly. I don't want to see a Tank Rolly fight. I just think that it'll just exhaust me, because everybody else they'll jump right back on the whole sensationalism, talking about Rolly and Tank, and when Tank going to actually fight somebody, if they actually fight Rolly. So I think that Tank and Loma is the best option right now, because much like an Eli Manning and a Phillip Rivers or Joe Flacco and a Matt Ryan, they're going to be joined at the hip because of the time that they were in the game and the level of skill that they both have for them not having fought anybody. I think that might be the second best fight aside from Spence and Bud right now in boxing. Right now. I'd be willing to bet that that's probably about the second best fight we can see right now, in which I actually have Tank devastating. I used to call him Vagisil, but now I just call him Vasil Lomachenko, because he never gave Mr. Gary Russell a rematch. Anyways, those are things to come. I know I hit you all with a lot, but I'm going to start doing these episodes where I really don't care about time, because I'm catering to the hardcores and what's going on. This is my pulse in boxing. If you want to collab, if you have any ideas for shows, if you want to hear about any boxers, hit me up, bodyworkboxing247@gmail.com. If you would like to donate, I don't have any options up there for donate, because I want to build my channel based on me speaking on sports. I don't want it to be shown that I can be incentivized by you donating money right now. When I start doing my thing and I'm able to go live, just so that I can spend more time and have more resources and have more gadgets and gadgets and things like that to play with, to afford an even more pristine product, I'll put out the cash up. But right now, it's all about building subscribers. It's all about pure boxing talk. It's all about the boxer and not everything else. You know, we look forward to these boxers being able to enter the ring in healthy state, leave the ring with all their faculties, and live to fight another day. We just want to see the best fight the best. That's it. That's all. Body work.
All right. I believe you. But my Tommy gun don't. Get down on your knees and tell me you love me.
Don't worry, I do what I do. He knows what I'm about to tell him right now. It's Mr. Keep running your mouth. That's what I do.
I just feel like I'm the champ, and at the end of the day, I'm just a fighting motherfucker. It doesn't matter. The inside, the outside, I can just fight. So I just feel like if you get down to the wire, we gotta lock it up. I'm out on top.
Hey, look, as you can see how I'm looking, I stay solid. I'm always solid. I stay fucked up, bro. You know what I'm saying? To the fans that know.
You guys jump outside the ring. I'm a fighter. Like I said before, ain't no safety in the class. So